There's been a lot of negative videos about Nintendo recently, and for good reason. Nintendo has been doing a lot of very questionable and downright terrible things for a long time. But I don't want this video to be entirely negative, so I figured we should start with some of the good things Nintendo has done first. They made Super Mario. Now let's get into the negatives. For years and years, Nintendo has proven time and time again that they will do anything and everything to protect their IP. And by protect, I mean deliberately remove fan-made mods, copyright claim content creators, and most recently, of course, fuck over its entire competitive scene just because. We're going to be diving into a lot today, and there's no way that I'm going to be able to cover the grand scheme of things as a whole, so as a good rule of thumb, just think that it's worse. Fan mods and fan games are relatively healthy for gaming as a whole. They can breathe new life into games you've beaten one too many times by adding new textures, funny characters, or just new content in general. And most companies are welcoming to mods for good reason. Look at Minecraft, a game that has quite literally been one of the most popular games on Earth for almost a decade because of how open-ended its user-generated content is. Steam literally has a workshop section where devs go, "Hey, buddy, what do you want? You want to play Left 4 Dead 2 but replace the cast with lovable My Little Pony characters? Go right ahead." Or maybe you want to play Skyrim, but instead of the normal gang of medieval warriors, you want the cast of My Little Pony. We have that too. Or maybe you beat Terraria one too many times, so you want to replace the characters with, I don't know, My Little Pony? There's a lot of My Little Pony mods. And believe it or not, fan-made mods aren't all My Little Pony characters. There are mods that add content and modes to games. There's mods that make the game look better. There are mods that change the game so fucking much that you can't even tell what the original game was in the first place. But Nintendo fucking hates this. Remember Dreams, that hit game by Media Molecule that was basically a sandbox for creation and full-fledged meme content? Well, one time a guy rigged up his own Super Mario in Dreams to be used in other creations. Pretty harmless, right? Wrong. Nintendo stepped in that bitch and demanded he be removed. How about the Commodore 64 port of Super Mario Bros. that a fan worked on for 7 years before releasing it for the world to enjoy? Well, just a few days after release, Nintendo decided to step in and kill the game by removing it from major hosting sources. And for no fucking reason. Sorry that guy was encroaching on all of your Commodore 64 fans, Nintendo. I wouldn't want to see you losing $4 fucking. Or what about Pokemon Uranium? A Pokemon fan game that took place in a new region with a brand new story that had over 100 new Pokemon to catch and battle with. It even had an online mode where people could trade with each other. Isn't that amazing? Apparently not, because Nintendo stepped in and gave them the grand old cease and desist. And we all know how much Nintendo cares about Pokemon. God forbid two guys rip a fat hit from a bong, lock themselves in a basement for a weekend, and make a better Pokemon game than Sword and Shield. And online capability? Nintendo hates that, and we'll talk about that more a little bit later. I understand a company doing everything it can to keep its intellectual properties protected, but in most cases, that's not what's happening here. What is the fucking point of stopping someone from making a Super Mario meme character in Dreams? You see that? Now I guess I don't have to buy a Switch anymore. I already got Super Mario 65 here. Is that just a pile of shit in the toilet? But it doesn't stop here. If you haven't heard yet, the Big House, aka one of the largest Melee events of the year, received a cease and desist from Nintendo of America to cancel their upcoming event that was supposed to take place online. They were told that they weren't allowed to host or broadcast the event primarily because of the use of Slippy, which is a program that allows you to play Melee online. Smash Bros. Melee is a 19-year-old game that still has a very dedicated and very large competitive scene. But due to the worldwide issues we're going through right now that I can't mention in a YouTube video without getting demonetized, competitive Melee has been struggling because they can't host actual events. But with the creation of Slippy and giving players the ability to play with each other around the world, Melee was finally beginning to put on fantastic events again. But since Slippy's a mod and Nintendo can't stand the idea of any of their games having decent online gameplay, they sent a cease and desist. Which sucks if you're a fan of Melee, because without Slippy, it basically guarantees there is no competitive scene until the world comes back. But you want to know what is the fucking icing on the cake? You want to know what is quite possibly the most fucking petty thing a company has done on this scale? The Splatoon community, in support of the Smash community, had 30% of their top teams in the Splatoon 2 NA Open with team names in support of Melee and Smash. And do you know what Nintendo did? Do you know how Nintendo responded when they saw the team names that stood with Melee and Smash? They canceled the live stream for the fucking event. Of course, Nintendo didn't admit this, but again, they are Nintendo. If they did admit it, we'd find out in a few weeks via snail mail, because they quite literally can't figure out how the internet works yet. There's so much outrage towards Nintendo, and it's honestly justified. I know I'm not going to be the first or the last person to talk about these problems, but it seems like with Nintendo, a lot of this shit isn't going to get any better. People have been having issues with this company online for as long as I can remember. Nintendo tried to stop Melee from being an Evo of 2013. In 2015, Nintendo was copyright claiming YouTube videos that had content from their games. In 2019, Nintendo came and copyrighted Gilva Sunner's channel for uploading some of the OSTs. And yesterday, Gilva Sunner, the same OST uploader, tweeted this: "The soundtracks for Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, and Mario Kart Wii have been blocked in their entirety on YouTube by Nintendo Japan." And though they haven't gotten anyone else, and this may have been a manual claim on Nintendo's side, behavior like this is very worrying. For those of you who don't know, the majority of my videos have Nintendo music in them because I genuinely fucking love Nintendo. When it comes to their content, they quite literally produced most of my favorite games. And seeing them constantly step in the direction of attacking content creators and modders in general in order to stand by such a dated idea is fucking heartbreaking. Nintendo, we fucking love you guys, man, but stop trying to attack us for being fans. I don't think there's a single drop of malicious intent when it comes to fan games, adding online capabilities to your games, and the line between protecting your IP and being an angry geezer is severely muddled here. So my closing statement is this: Nintendo, your morals are dated, and you need to change, and I have faith in you. Remember when you used to be a chain of love hotels in Japan that people would use to have sex with strangers they met in the club? Well, you grew then. And you can grow now. We believe in you, Nintendo. You just gotta believe us too.